Good. Yeah, back, isn't it? What do you think of the whole Crimbo thing and all? You all enjoy it? Good crack. It's like, is there any men here tonight?
Yeah, we got it.
Oh, I'm a man. Let me see some other men.
Oh my God.
Jeez, Amanda. The women, they love you.
Have done.
Yeah.
And it's not usually.
It's more, yeah, this is the largest.
But is it usually more even amount of
More
men?
even usually, yeah. But still women are the more enlightened.
Yeah.
Race. That's why I keep in with them. That's why I keep in with them. So let me see, make sure I can see it. Okay,
There you
cool.
go.
So before we get into this evening, okay, we'll tell you a bit about what we're going to do. We're just going to do a very short meditation, just like literally 2 or 3 minutes, okay? Just to get you all centered and in your bodies. In case you're in someone else's body right now, let's say. Okay, so just feel into your heart center. And just take a couple of deep breaths into your heart. And place your hand on your heart if you want. And just get a sense of your whole body relaxing. Your feet relaxing into the ground, relaxing into your solar plexus, relaxing into your heart. Get a sense of your heart beating. And just get a sense now of the awareness behind the thoughts. So there's thoughts in your head right now. And as you move into your heart center, it's more a place of feeling. Just feel into the awareness behind the thoughts. It doesn't have judgment, doesn't really have opinions, just stays there all the time observing. You need to just really drop into that. And feel like you're breathing into that awareness right now. Instead of you observing that awareness, become the awareness, because that's who you actually are. And we'll take one more deep breath together. And on the out breath, just get a sense of your higher self or your soul or whatever you feel you'd like to connect with. That aspect of you, that awareness. And just see your whole energy field now lighting up and surrounding you in a nice white light. And get a sense of that light spreading out now and filling the room. As our hearts join collectively, the light joins collectively. And just see the space now filled with pure white light. And now bring that awareness back to your heart center again. And I invite you to stay in this place tonight. Just stay in a place of non-judgment. Take what resonates, what you hear tonight, and let go of the rest. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
So, Amanda Sophia, Amanda Collins.
I was going to say that there's so much light in the room. Like you're all glowing. And then there's so much love in the room as well.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
it's a lovely group. Yeah.
Thank you all for being here.
Yeah.
So wonderful.
So you've been with us a few times, Amanda.
I think we were realizing that maybe 2008 was the first time. So almost 20 years ago was the first one.
For the first one?
Yeah, for the first one. And I arrived
okay.
an hour and a half late
Okay.
for a 3-hour drive.
Oh,
And
wow.
you were pissed. You were like, and I was like, I'm here. I've got an hour and a half. Let me do it. You're like, All right, go on.
Was like stress, yeah? Okay.
Just a bit. I was an hour and a half late, so.
Wonder what we did that night to get away with that, actually. I
I
can't
think
really
you said
remember.
everyone chatting. or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
I got that.
yeah. Anyway, you're here tonight, so that's good.
On
So
time.
you've been through a few iterations, and Feng Shui was how we first came across
Yeah.
it. And now tonight we're meeting up to talk about light language, fifth
Mhm.
dimensional consciousness, a number of different things. But just to say, your work as a Feng Shui consultant
Yeah.
has been really powerful. You brought great tours in from the States.
Mhm.
You've also done a lot of goddess energy, haven't you, on the land,
Yeah,
on the Irish
yeah,
land, sacred land.
definitely. Yeah,
So
with the Celtic wheel. I love
yeah,
the
we've
word.
been keeping an eye on your work, so
Yeah.
well done to you for what you've done.
Aw,
And let's give her a
thank
big
you.
welcome, yeah. So if you put your phones on silent, I'm just reminding myself, or
Yeah.
turn it off. And yeah, so our plan really is I'll have a chat with Amanda for about 30 minutes, and then we'll do a transmission. Isn't that our plan? We'll have a little tea break.
Mhm.
Tea is inside in that room for you. And we'll have a little tea break, and then we'll come back and
Yeah.
we'll kind of rearrange the room slightly into a circle. Is
Have
that
us
our
in a
plan?
circle, yeah.
Yeah. What was that, Joy? That's great. It was channeling. It was channeling. It wasn't you. It was channeling. So we'll do a tea break, and then we
Yeah.
come back, and we want to have a transmission in
Yeah.
the second half.
And we'll just all come into a circle and we'll kind of go in through meditation and we'll open up the space. And then Paul and I were just chatting because it's really important that you feel in integrity and want to receive, and really what we're going to do is a transmission activation. It's going to be your own. We're just holding the space for it and opening the space for it. So it's your connection with your own soul, your highest self. So, but we were just kind of chatting that if anybody felt they would rather not and just want to be in the circle, maybe you could just place your hands on your heart and just be in the energy versus receive the transmission. So either is perfect, but trusting and knowing that if you felt to be here this evening, you're in the right place, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So you want it just to be part of a group meditation, that's fine as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Brilliant. But they're all probably mad for it, are you?
Yes. Oh, is
You're
it?
ready to
Yeah,
go to
yeah,
the
okay.
next. I mean,
And then I do have my dear sisters here, and in the front row, I have my beloved sister Emer. It's her birthday today. It's her birthday. It's her birthday. But she'll be doing sound alchemy as well when we're doing the transmissions. And then my other dear sisters, Melissa and Vanessa, will also be doing the transmissions. We all work together doing this ascension work. So we'll just be working together, all of us collectively. I mean, it's a very powerful day. There's a lot of codes and a lot of energy already coming in. I don't know if you've all been experiencing that all day. So you're all part of what we're bringing in here today. Yeah, you know that already. So
so Amanda, we'll have our chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
See where it goes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how, I suppose, light language
Mhm.
came into your experience.
Mhm.
How did
Yeah.
that happen? Tell us.
Yeah. Well, how far back do we want to go? Lifetimes?
Like,
Because when it actually activated it in me, finally, like I had a lot of past life remembrances where my tongue had got cut out because of that. I mean, many of us have been doing this work in other lifetimes. We were punished, and that's why it's a little bit scary to step into it in this lifetime, because it's like, oh, is this going to be okay? But in this lifetime, it is okay. And it's actually really vitally important that we actually step into it at this time, because that's what's needed on the planet, clearly, right? With all that's going on, we need to step into our light. We need to step into our sovereignty. We need to and move past those old fears and things that happened in other lifetimes. But in this lifetime, I would just say finding our voices in general is so powerful. Like, I always loved to sing. I've always loved to sing. But I remember as a young child in school, I was always told not to sing, that stay quiet type of thing. And I did this thing called finding your voice.
can everybody hear in the back row there? Sorry.
Okay.
No,
Can
they
you hear
can't.
me?
No.
You can't hear
No.
me?
You want to use the handheld as well? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can kind of hear me because
Can you
I'm.
hear me? Is this better? Is that any better? Is that better?
Hey, Mark.
Hi. Is that better? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Little too loud, little too loud. And so in my early 20s, I did this course called Finding Your Voice. And it was really powerful. There was about 20 of us in the course. And on the last day of the course, you had to get up on stage and sing the song. And you were able to invite all your relatives, all your friends, everything. So 20 of us inviting everybody. There was probably 400 people in the audience. And I remember that day going out to sing the song that we've been practicing the whole way, feeling like I was completely naked on stage, bearing my soul, but I felt like I was physically naked. And that day changed my life, like finding my voice, and like I never stopped since then. But then I'd say over the last 4 to 5 years, I've gone through I feel like every day now I wake up having an awakening, right? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I do my inner work every day, I do my daily practice, and then every day I just wake up feeling that bit more awakened. And I went through the stage where I just felt like I had this avocado pip in my throat, like, and there was nothing I could do to get rid of it, nothing. But I knew my light language was trying to come through. I knew it was, but it's just divine timing. You know, it's there for all of us. It's something that we all have, but it's just if we're open to it and can give space to it. And then we were having a good giggle during dinner because I had my friend the Raven for a couple of years where I would literally just call. Like I was like I couldn't even talk. Sometimes I would just be cawing for a couple hours. So I went through all sorts of experiences, and then finally my light language came in, and then it hasn't stopped since then.
Wow.
Yeah.
And energetically, how does it feel in the body?
Well, I went through a couple of years where I think a lot of us would know it as the Kundalini awakening. I wake up very early. I'm usually awake about 3 or 4 a.m. because I love to have a really good morning practice. But it would just be, you know, that movement of the body, and you know, sometimes I've just been convulsions. But it's like and I think this is a really important part, because as our body is trying to expand to this new level of consciousness, and so much shifts in the body as well. Like, you know, the way they say every 7 years, all our cells completely change. Well, it absolutely feels that way, a total rebirth. So I went through a couple of years, and I call it, I called it like a heartgasm, and all sorts of like, where literally my heart would just be like that. And then the solar plexus moved all the way up until the crown. And sometimes it still feels like my third eye is just gonna pump on my forehead. But so there was a lot that physically I went through for the awakening, and I still feel there is as well. I have to be really mindful because there's a lot of energy that comes down. So I think the grounding process is vital. Like and that's the thing, Paul, right? So we all, I think for lifetimes anyway, I know the ascension process is always like going straight up, and we're all really good at that, right? Go out of our bodies, we go up, and it's blissful. But actually, this new earth, this time is about us having the experience in our bodies. It's not about the vertical space, it's about the horizontal space and bringing it down and through. So it's more like that energy is coming down and into our bodies and down to the earth. So it's not just about expansion, it's the depth. So that's why I think a lot of somatic practices and everything are so huge now, because it's like we have to be in our bodies to have this. Like the new earth, what is that? It's heaven on earth. And we can't have that if we're out of our bodies floating in the upper worlds. So it's a matter now of bringing that energy down and having that embodiment of that experience. So I think that's why the physical vessel goes through a lot. And I think we can be mindful as well, because we have to be mindful with our nervous system and with a lot of energy coming through, right? Be mindful of that.
Did you feel that you were given what you could handle at each time, or was there any time where you went, this is too much, this is too much now, you know, because you have to live a daily life, you're a mother.
Yeah.
Did you find that
I find that I'm really grateful to just be at the sink, clean the dishes.
okay?
I'm just like, feels so good. This feels so good. And I'll tell you what, my kids, like I've got a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old, they are my grounding force. Like, thank gosh for them, because I have to have my feet on the ground. I have, you know, my son's been speaking light language since he was 2, and we chat together. My daughter very much so channels it through art. So that's the thing with light language. It isn't just the spoken light language. We can bring it through toning, through song. We can write it, symbols. It can come out with like sacred geometry, basically. We can do it through art. We can bring it, and then through mudras, and then through movement. So I'm sure there's lots of other ways there. Just the the ways that I know for sure we can channel through. So yeah, it's not just spoken.
Yeah, yeah. So when we
And
talk,
I don't think I answered that
no,
whole last
no,
question. So
no.
what exactly?
Yeah, so
Oh, the ground. So what was the question?
that happens, you just let it go, yeah.
The grounding.
Yeah,
So,
so yeah,
was
were
it
there
too
times
much?
where it was,
Yeah.
yeah, like
Definitely. Yes.
I suppose as well for people exploring
Yes,
this work,
definitely.
yeah,
And you have to kind of have your boundaries, right? So we talk about an important part of being now is our boundaries, physical, emotional, mental boundaries, and boundaries evolve all the time in all our relationships. So there is an ever evolving conversation. But when it comes to our energetic or working with our guides and everything, I think boundaries are really important. It's like, don't disturb me in my sleep. I need my sleep, but definitely like this year I did a couple of retreats. I did a 5-day one in the west coast of Ireland. I did a 5-day one in Greece. I did in California, I did one, and I'm definitely needing a couple of days break after that. And sometimes it just feels like when we went to Skellig Michael, because that is the crown chakra, right, of the Michael Mary line, and the codes that come in there. It's very powerful. But I remember I just felt, oh my gosh, it felt like I was getting hailstones on my crown, and I just couldn't stop it for a few days. And that felt like a lot. And I think that sometimes it feels like there's all this light coming at the crown. So I think a very important part of the process is being able to, we work with the chakra systems, right? So from the cosmic all the way down to the crown, but that we need it to be integrating and coming down and through, because you can't have just all this energy constantly here. It's a matter of bringing it down. And this is where the grounding process comes. We bring it through all the energy points, all the way down, all the way into our feet. And then for those of you that will work with the earth grid lines, we bring it all the way down in through the earth, into the inner earth. And as I said, we're the connector between heaven and earth. So it's not about all up here. It's the actual whole process is now all the way down through the body.
and you feel, Amanda, this is your higher aspect kind of communicating directly with you. That's what you feel.
Yeah, I think when it comes to soul, we connect with our source of origin, where we come from, right? And then light language it's light, it's pure frequency, it's a vibration. So I think like a lot of the history of languages, when Babylon fell, right, they were building that temple to connect and to bypass, right, God, to have that connection. And then when that fell, they were like, okay, we're going to create languages, right? So languages were created, but they were created by a very patriarchic society. And so it was just like, and think about the amount of miscommunication that happens in languages now, where we could be speaking the same language, but there's war and there's fighting, because even though we're speaking the same language, people aren't hearing each other. So when you speak light language, it's a direct communing with your soul, and it's a frequency and vibration that comes through, and it's pure light frequency. So I think it was so life-changing when it came in for me, because one is I just felt free. It was something that like I was like, oh, I love you. I can hear you. Oh, I can hear, like, my soul. I can hear you on the deepest level. I feel like I cried for days, and still do, of how beautiful it can be. And it's so powerful, because even if you have a day where you're not feeling good, it's like you can clear your own field with it. So you are working with your highest dimension of yourself and communing with your soul in the most kind of clear channel way. So, with some of my girlfriends now, we don't really speak English a whole ton.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. And I really do feel that's where we're going. We'll get to a stage where we don't need phones, we don't need computers. Like, I mean, look where we've been. Like, you think of somebody, you bump into them, right? So it's going to keep moving to the next level. The more intuition opens, the more our psychic abilities open. It's just, and it's a really fun practice to just think of something and, go back and forth and see how that communion happens, that communication happens.
Telepathy you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or psychically connecting.
You're all, yeah. Yeah. I'm communicating to you now. Can you hear what I'm saying? Yes. I'm mad.
We're all in it together. We're all a little mad, which is a good thing, right?
It's like there's no doubt we're ascending, right?
No doubt.
Does anyone doubt that now? Hands up who doubts that we're ascending. We are ascending, yeah. Is anybody else here speaking light language themselves besides these mad people in the front? Anyone else? No, okay.
Well, it could be different tomorrow.
It's going to be different
So,
tomorrow
so
than it
just
looks
to be
for you.
clear,
Yeah.
we're not doing any activations. It's your own activation. We're just opening space for it. So it is a possibility, and that's how it works. Sometimes it's just hearing somebody, and there's just this deep remembrance and this deep knowing, and people get really emotional because they're like, I remember this, I know this. Like, I mean, it was the language that we all used to commune with, how we all used to commune originally, right?
There is a real truth in it, you know. I can
Mm.
hear that. I said that to you earlier. You know, sometimes we can say whatever we want, but we're not backing it up with the energy. But the light language, there's an energetic feel from it. You know, you definitely can't doubt it. When we talk about the fifth dimensional consciousness, so right now we're in 4D, we're kind of transiting. Is that where we are now, or do you feel we're in 5D already?
Well, I think it depends who you're talking with. Right. So the 3D, as we know, is the materialistic. You're here, I'm there, we're separate. There's competition, there's separation. It's in order to make that happen, I got to force that, I got to, you know, make that happen. And then the fourth dimension is the gateway, it's the portal to go, wow, there's a different way, and maybe we are actually all connected. And you start your healing process. You start healing so you're not projecting and blaming, and you're kind of allowing yourself to awaken. So that fourth dimension is that. And then the fifth dimension, I feel like we're all like dancing in and out of all the time, right? Like that higher heart where we're living from our hearts. We are making all our decisions from this higher heart. We are listening to each other right now from the heart, not judgment. And it's just, there's a love, right? Where we look from that place, we speak from that place, rather than just reacting, we're responding, we're being accountable for our own energy. Like that's ultimately what the fifth dimension is. We're living from our higher heart, right? And so if we're all living from that place, there's no war. And we live in a place where everybody has enough, because we know there's enough resources in the world, right? And eventually, when we're all living in harmony, we're all living from that place, we will have clean water. We will have food that isn't, got poison in it, right? So that's really the thing. So I think and I think there's even just practical day-to-day things we can do. Like, first of all, our inner work. I'm a huge advocate of that. And I think it's doing our inner work and not projecting and blaming, just go, okay, what is it within me that I can heal and look at in this situation? But I think the other thing that's become really aware, and we've been chatting a lot about this, that, sometimes like, oh, the deep healing work, oh my gosh, it can be exhausting, right? Like, but actually some of it is just distortions that we carry. Like, I'm broken, there's something wrong with me, I've just got to keep working on myself. I don't keep working on myself, but actually we're all perfect and whole and beautiful and divine. And if we could really know that and embody that, like that's the fifth dimension right there. So I think there's a balance of, yes, we still need to be accountable for our energy and do practices that allow us to live in our heart, and but to know that we're just perfect and divine right as we are right now.
When we talk about other dimensions that, other frequencies, we have 5D, we go all the way up to, do you feel that when we move into 5D and it stabilizes, that we're there?
Yeah.
But we're definitely not there as a planet right now,
Yeah.
right? That you can see that playing out on the Earth.
But there's the crumbling happening right now.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
It's like everything's collapsing,
Yeah.
and also truths are emerging. You can't
Yeah.
hide them anymore.
Nope.
Is this ascension going to be a messy process?
What do you think it looks like right now?
I
mean, Mother Earth's not happy. We
Yeah.
just got to look to a lot what's going on there, and but it's like the light will always prevail, right? And so sometimes there's stuff that's been hidden that has to come to the surface. But at the same time, and we were talking about this, it's like we're very quick to perceive something as good or bad, right? I love that story, that story about the guy with the horse. Yeah, like it's very quick, but it's just like, oh, there was a village and a family with a son, and he always wanted a horse, but he couldn't afford it. And the whole village is like, oh, we're so sorry, that's so terrible, we can't afford the horse. Well, he won a horse, and the whole village is like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky, you won the horse, that's so good. well, he fell off the horse and he broke both his legs and both his arms. Oh no, that's so terrible. But then war broke out and he's supposed to go to war and he couldn't because he'd broken arms and broken legs. So like, oh, you're so lucky. But I don't know, like we're very quick to go, that's good or that's bad, but it just is. And so a lot of stuff that's going on in the world right now, and obviously some of it definitely appears to not be good, right? And at the same time, there's a crumbling process happening. And there's like look at the last even 20 years, the amount of truth that has come to the surface worldwide. So it is a bit messy, yeah.
It's going to be messy. And
But
2020,
the more that every single one of us choose to make decisions around living in the higher heart, and that's a conscious choice I make every day. And some days I wake up and I feel like crap, and I'm like, you know, but I have my tools and I have my practices, and then I will step back into that. So it's like, you know, you fall, and then you go, actually, no, I'm going to use these practices and I'm going to come back in. And that's why our date, like, we can have these huge, big awakenings, which are fantastic and everything, right? But if we're not bringing, like, it's like, oh, I sit for an hour a day in meditation, that's my spiritual practice. No, our spiritual practice is our every moment of our living. It's weave through everything that we do, like how we parent, how we are as a friend, how we are as a daughter or a son, or how we show up, like in all that we do. And so it's cutting wood, carrying water, and how we integrate it in. And what we need to ascend and to move into this officially, like, because we're in this time of Aquarius, we're in the golden age now, but we have to do it. We have to step into it, and we have to consciously make the changes in our lives to forgive those people that we need to forgive, to move forward with our lives, to consciously use the tools that we have to be accountable for our own energy.
2025, this year we're in now, yeah. Or are we in it? Yeah, not yet. So we're about to be in it.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're kind of in between, right?
Yeah.
Because we a little bit still are in the winter solstice,
yeah,
right? It's still dark, and a lot of people are rushing to get into the new year, but it's actually okay still. Like Imbolc, right? The Celtic wheel, February 1st, the budding begins, but the blossoming is really in March. So it's okay. You can still relax by the fire and go inwards and take that time. I mean, Chinese New Year, February 3rd, February 4th. So a lot of us feel under a lot of pressure to get going in the new year, and it's really not, it's too rushed, right? Right, we're supposed to be in the darkness, we're supposed to be in the cave, in the womb, and taking that time to reflect, because we'll have plenty of time in that more young outward time of the year, right? So
so
yeah.
it's still hibernation. You can stay in bed, stay in bed. What are so 2025, loads of people are talking about it right now in the spiritual community, and they're saying there's a lot of upheaval this year. It's like it's being forecast everywhere astrologically. All spiritual teachers are saying there's going to be some big event. It'll be like the last big one we had.
I was like,
what do you see? Do you see anything like that coming down the track? Do you
well,
care?
I mean, right off the bat, like just from a feng shui astrology kind of standpoint, we just went into a whole new cycle, period 9 cycle, which is a fire cycle. And the fire is very powerful and what are we having? A lot of fires, right? And what does fire do? It transforms and transmutes energy, right? But look at what it does while it's doing it, right? It's not as soft as other elements can be. So we're in a fire period. And obviously 2025 is 9, which is also a fire. So it's a lot of fire energy. And then we are moving into the year of the snake, which is rebirth, transformation, shedding old skins. And I really feel this month of January is the perfect time before we actually go, okay, what parts of myself am I really going to let die? Like, what parts do I not need to take into this next year? Because the trees are so good at it. They go, okay, I'm shedding all this stuff, all these leaves, and letting them go, and I'm going to stand here vulnerable and naked and raw for the whole winter. And I'm going to be still, and then I'm going to let myself bud when it comes into Imbolc, and then blossom in the spring. So what do you need to shed? What do you need to release? What do you need to let go of? This is the perfect time. And it's a time to kind of take off the mask, you know? And the really interesting thing when a snake is shedding its skin, it does this thing with its face, and it like starts to move the skin off its face. Obviously it comes off the tail, but like that whole process, and then they're quite raw as well when that process happens. So there is a vulnerability to all that letting go, but that's where our power is, right? Not taking all that into next year and the year after that. And that's if we're really following, that's if we're living by the Gregorian calendar, right?
Mm-hmm. But no matter, I suppose, no matter what happens on the external, it's still about your own individual, as you say, living in the higher heart, being in your own power, being in your own frequency. What
And also community.
community?
And you're so amazing at that. And I mean, you know how I feel. I'm so grateful for all the work you've done for Ireland, for Dublin, and all you've been doing for like 20 years. That's
I
all you
can't
do.
resist it. I can't
You
resist it.
devote your whole life to it. So
Like you just
thank
come in
you.
here, look, I needed this. Did you guys need this? You need to be with mad people, you know, at least once a week.
Like-minded.
Yeah. Mad in a good way, of course.
But so community, unity consciousness. So yeah, we have our own individual unique blueprint, right? But unity conscious, we are all brothers and sisters. And you know, we had so much snow there last week, and it's so incredible watching all those incredibly beautiful snowflakes. And there's no two snowflakes that are the same. And just like every single one of you, none of you are saying that you're completely unique. But then when you see all the snow come together, it's so beautiful. The whole place is white, and you know, me and the kids we were all going down slopes and everything, and then it's just like so much joy when that unity consciousness comes together. So it is our own personal path, but then the collective as well.
Yeah, community, I think, is a big thing,
Yeah.
you know, as we go forward, community and collaboration. Yeah, and being with your tribe in a sense, you know.
Huge,
Yeah,
not to be under.
Yeah, and just while I'm on that, Amanda, what other practices do you really recommend at this time? I mean, I know you have your own, I have some too. What do you kind of find serves you the best?
And I have this whole like juicy, lovely bag of practices because it depends what I feel like on the day. But always meditation is always there. But that's different every time. Sometimes I'm channeling up to the upper world, down to the underworld, and then sometimes it's just stillness. I just need stillness, you know, or just a whole somatic practice. I'll just go through my whole body and where am I holding energy and how can I let that move through? Or there's just like I literally cry every day and I love it. It feels so good. I cry every single day. Oh, the energy moves through and it's a blissful feeling. And sometimes I know what I'm crying about, and then sometimes it's just all that's happening collectively. And I think this is an important part because I'm definitely an empath. I know my sisters are empaths. I would guess a lot of us in the room are empaths. I don't want to put on anything on anybody, but I think a very important part now of the ascension process is because we're all very good at walking into a room and just feeling everything everybody's feeling, but is that ideal? No, not really. I think part of our path of sovereignty and ascension is standing in our own energy and staying in our own energy, no matter what the other energies are happening around. Like that's a very, very important practice. And we've mastered that. We can stay in our higher hearts so much more then, right?
And do you do much breath work, or obviously nature is a big part of it, I'd say as well? Yeah.
Like I'm pretty much out more than I'm in.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in the country, mountain across the road, forest behind, wells all around, and always there. So nature, but like being out in nature is great, but it's a whole next level when you're barefoot in nature, or you'll sit in nature under a tree, or you can just walk around your garden or go to a local park. And I love to just be out in the rain. Like a lot of times we'll be out walking and we'll be walking in the rain for an hour and we don't even notice it's raining, but it just feels so good. You know what I mean? Sure, if you live in Ireland, you got to be good at walking out in the rain anyway. Nature, meditation. I have, you know, those stereos, those JVs, whatever, so bring them to the forest every day, just dance in the forest. And sometimes you don't even need music, or down at the beach, or if you can swim in the water. And I love to spend time with the wells. And then I do feel as well, a huge part is what we're putting into our vessel as well, right? So I try to grow a lot of my own stuff. And then we're very lucky to have some wonderful local organic farmers you can order from. And then I get my water from a spring on the mountain. So I think the water and stuff that we put into our bodies, I mean, we're 70 to 80% water, and it carries consciousness, you know? And so, and we're in this time of Aquarius, we're the water carriers, right? So that in itself is a ritual, going up and gathering water. And I know, hey, I might be lucky living in the country doing that. So we find our own ways in the places that we live in to find our own practices of what's around us. We find our own resources. But yeah, so it depends on the mood. And I like to do weights. I like to feel strong in my body. Dancing's a big one. Meditation's pretty much every day. Yeah. And then light language is an amazing tool as well.
Wow. I might get into it this year, see what happens.
The light language.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll start
Go full.
babbling it down to Wicklow. I'll start coming from. So galactically,
Yes.
what's your thoughts around that? There seems to be a lot of activity. There seems to be a lot of, we've had some people in here talking about our connection, that we're part of a galactic family. What's your thoughts around that stuff?
Starseeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I do connect with galactic realms, and there's specific families that we come from, and also depends where we are, right? Because they may be more attuned to, I mean, in Greece, very much so, with the Atlanteans and say like Michael as well. So it depends who our starseed family is, and then also depends if we're working with somebody, maybe that's their family. So that galactic realm comes in. So when it comes to light language, and we talked about this, Paul, we wanted to keep it to just working with their own soul, right? We talked about that and just stay with that for this evening. But there's plenty more, and I don't even think it's not a linear thing. It's not like, I mean, we go up at least to the 13th dimension, but who's to say it's a number? And it's definitely not a linear thing, right? All the way up to the Divine Mother, to Mother Arc. But there's all the different galactic realms, and sometimes I'll channel a dragon language. And so there's a lot of dragon energy with us this evening, or the earth energies, the earth dragons, or even just the plant light language as well. You know, the Tuatha Dan and the fairy realm as well.
And it's really fascinating, all that stuff, you know. The galactic side of it it's amazing, you know. So, you know,
I was under strict orders that we're
oh no, I'm
okay.
I'm open to it. Feng Shui being your background, you know, it's you've quite a reputation in that world. So I wanted to ask you, for people going home tonight to their house, give them a very simple tip that's really life-changing.
Yeah.
That they could do.
Well, I mean, our home, we spend about 80% of our time inside, and it houses our physical vessel, which houses our soul, right? Which, you know, and it's really, really important that we feel safe in our home, that we feel inspired, that our home feels good. Like I always say, we want to walk in our home, we want to feel like we're just being embraced, like we're getting a hug. So I would say that moving forward on our ascension process, I'm going to give you the 101. What do you think the 101 is? Yeah, light, definitely. But the 101 is like the very good, the clear the clutter. So basically, have a look at your artwork, have a look at your accessories, clothes you haven't worn in a year. Like, so powerful to let go of all that stuff, because you're either living in the past, or you want to look around your home and go, is this representing who I am now and where I want to go? And it's amazing because I even have my blinders, and I've been doing it for like 25 years. Some of you come into my home and be like, oh, I'm like, look at that, you know? So I think the main thing is your home representing who you are and where you want to go. Or you keeping all the suits from a corporate job that you had 20 years ago that you have no intention of going back to, right? Or stuff with past relationships, and you really want to let those go, or, you know, so I would say the top things is let go, let go, let go, right? If you don't need it, don't use it, or don't love it, let it go. You know, Marie Kondo, she's like, touch it if it doesn't bring you joy, let it go. Fix everything that's broken. Because if you're looking out through a broken window, that's how you look out in the world. If you're looking in a mirror that's cracked, that's how you look at yourself, your own reflection. And everything in the home is a representation. If the light bulbs are burnt out, it's usually representing you're burnt out. If the door handles are loose, you have a firm grip. Or, you know, like if you go up somebody's front door and the front door doesn't even open, it's just like you're pushing, they're like, hold on, they're just shaking it. Like, that's where all the energy flows in. So you can't even get in your front door. So get everything fixed, the doorbell, make sure the front door is in good working order, and make sure everything's flushing, because that's how it's kind of showing the release of the emotions. And also, all the water in a house represents the money. So we want to make sure things aren't leaking or blocked, right? So get everything fixed, clear the clutter, and space clearing and nightmare. Like, so I like to, I don't even care if in the winter, all the windows and doors get opened every single day and just let all that beautiful fresh energy come in.
Beautiful. What a great tip. And do you still go around to people's houses, Amanda, and do one-on-ones?
No.
Okay, good. Because
but
don't
you-
let her into your house, okay? Unless you're ready to throw everything out. If she came into my house and
That
she
day.
tried to throw me out, and I said, I'm living here. And she's like, yeah, but it's a past relationship. You gotta go.
It's true.
It's like I was holding on to things. I was like, don't. She's like, what's that? Is that your ex-girlfriend?
No, thanks, I'm fine.
Oh my God, there was nothing left. Remember that day?
We had
I was
fun.
just in a weird.
We had fun. I had fun.
I think I was left with a spoon and a cup like that, and a candle, and I was shaking. So she's not doing one-on-ones anymore, so you're fine. Fine.
I'm teaching, so I have an entire feng shui certification. So I teach it and train people, like, if you just want to learn for yourself and your family and your community, and then I teach a full feng shui master certification if you want a career in it. And I've had a couple of students in here, Ashley back there. I think you took one of the first ones in Ireland, didn't you?
Are you still doing it, Ashley?
She's got her teeth whitening.
Oh, she's the
business.
teeth now,
She's
yeah.
the-
For other businesses.
Yeah, she's like,
Yeah.
I don't need to be doing that.
Yeah, it's so good, isn't it? Yeah.
Practice it. All the girls at work would do it. We would hear the clinic every once a month, and so it's always in my life. It's in my home. So I did work at it for a while, but then I got into what I'm in
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah.
But I am going to get back into it. Probably mid this year, I'm relaunching me again.
I love
Relaunching
that.
yourself. Oh wow, I'm going to that one.
She's a total goddess. And by the way, did I hear you asking, does anybody in the audience speak light language?
Yeah.
I was about to say, I've heard you, girl.
Oh, she didn't admit to it. You didn't admit to it. Okay.
She's very quiet back there.
Yeah,
very
yeah,
quiet.
Well, you know, yeah.
And then Joanna, she's taken, and I also teach people how to work with the land and heal the land and geomancy and dowsing, and Joanna's done all that. Done it all.
Wow.
Anything you want to say?
No. And it is, I think it's important to say as well, you know, with the feng shui, when you're
Yeah.
decluttering, it can
Yeah.
seem really overwhelming.
Yeah.
So you can just do little bits, right?
Yeah, Rome was not built in a day,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So just start one drawer.
One shelf.
You know, and some people, it's really exciting and really fun, and they, you know, and prepare yourself like a bag, be prepared. So you have a bag of like recycling, a bag that's trash, and a bag that you're not too sure of. Like that is helpful, because you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know if it, you know, you can just put it in that box, right? And then, but if you're prepared, you have stuff to go to recycling, stuff that is just can't even be recycled. It's just, and of course we want to be as environmentally friendly as possible. But some people love to clear clutter, and then some people it's really hard. Like it's really emotional and it's scary, and so it's really nice to have support. People that will come, and the person that likes to do it comes and helps you, you know. But having that box, I'm not too sure if you can put it up and put that box up for a month or so, and then you can't open the box, but you gotta list everything you put in the box. And if you can't remember what you put in the box, what do you think? You don't need it. Can't even remember what I put in there. So
You
yeah,
don't need it, yeah.
drawer, just a drawer. Start with one drawer, and it's like anything. Schedule. I'm going to do Saturday from 10 to 12. I'm going to clear the clutter. You know.
Stick on a podcast and go for it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Amanda, we better take our break now. So
Okay.
we're gonna have a 10-minute tea break, and then
Yeah.
we'll come back and we'll all ascend to the next dimension, yeah? So enjoy your tea in this dimension, and we'll see you in the second half. Thank you.